Hello everyone, my name is Samgeli Sodube and I shall be presenting a paper titled Formal and Informal Housing Data Unit Dataset, a case of Bulawayo metropolitan area which is in Zimbabwe. The paper describes the steps and the processes which were followed in the development of this custom dataset of houses for the Bulawayo metropolitan area which is in Zimbabwe. Images of houses were captured around the city using cameras, and we also used a drone. So after gathering these images, they were then processed using Microsoft Photos to remove all blurred images and also to straighten the images. Quite a number of images were taken. Then after using Microsoft Photos, most of them were discarded because they were not usable. A Keras data augmentation library, which is called Image Data Generator, was used to augment these images in order to increase the amount of images in the training data. Label image was then used to annotate these images. We have to remember that in any machine learning model, we need to annotate our images. And then this label image is a tool that is in YOLO format and is for use in machine learning projects. We actually used YOLO version 5. The images were then divided into training and validation data. The quality of the images in the dataset was tested using BRISC standing for Blind Reference Image Spatial Quality Evaluator, and NIC, which stands for the Natural Image Quality Evaluator. Using image processing via MATLAB proved that the images were of very good quality. The overall scores were less than 50% for both BRISC and niche, where we had BRISC scored 20.6987 and Nick scored 2.6898 on the same image. The created dataset can be used by researchers as input in their models, so because it's of good quality. We have to remember that data is core in machine learning models, and machine learning data should be presented in an acceptable manner for ease of usage. Land development inspectors inspections are actually done manually in the Bulawayo metropolitan, whereby the inspector has to go around the city looking for these informal houses or backyard shacks. So since they are in the many of them are in the backyards of formal residential areas, you find that the landlords at times they don't allow the building inspectors to go into their yards, and this makes it very difficult for the building inspectors. And they need to carry around plans, building plans, just to check in each and every yard which plans were approved, which structures were approved, and which structures were not approved. And with the naked eye, at times it becomes very difficult because most of these backyard shacks are actually made of good quality bricks, good quality roofs. So you can't tell whether or not they are informal. The council then sought an alternative way to do these spot checks. A formal and informal classification model happened to be the answer. But unfortunately, there was no data that could be used to assist in the training and the validation process. Therefore, a decision was made to come up with this custom database data set to assist the building inspectors and to assist the city council, Bulawayo City Council as a whole. Images were taken using digital cameras and a drone, I've already said, and the data distribution is as follows: 40% for all informal backyard houses and 60% for formal houses. The reason being that not every yard has got an informal housing structure. So obviously the housing structures will be less than the the informal housing structures will be less than the formal housing structures. This data set is available on Kaggle. I've got the link on the paper. Yes, let's look at our data collection. We have already said we used cameras and we used a drone to take images throughout the city suburbs. Images were taken in the low density and in the high density area. Approval was given by the city council to do so and also to fly the drone. Then after the data collection, we did our data analysis, and this is where we did the annotation, pre-processing of the data. I've already talked about the tools that we used. Then after data analysis, we did the data annotation. Two labels were selected, and these labels were formal and informal housing. Using these two labels made it easy to distinguish what is more likely to be the official building plans and what was to constitute the informal building, the buildings. The image quality metrics were used were brisk. We have already said brisk, yes. Brisk actually evaluates images with the same distortions and assigns quality scores. While Cynic, the model is trained on a data set of positive images, which were undistorted images. It does not use subjective quality scores. That is, it measures quality of images with arbitrary distortion. It measures instead how further away an image digresses from the pristine ones. Then we'll talk about the credibility of our data. The dataset was compared to a well-known flowers dataset. It's called Flowers Recognition Dataset, which was developed by Alexandro and is available on Kaggle. This dataset has 4,242 images and 5 classes. Brisk and Nick metrics were used as well on this dataset, and the result were just like those of the housing, formal and informal houses dataset, proving that the formal and informal houses dataset is credible. This dataset was created for machine learning research and is suitable for training and evaluation in machine learning models. Right. Our future work, the future work is to increase this data set, and also to add more labels on the data set in order to make it robust. So there really is some future work to be done there, and so that the data set is made up of a lot of images so that many researchers can use the data set. With that, I thank you.